So I don't know what happened, but it took me a really long time to do this review because, guys, I'm heartbroken. Like, I sat there after the show and I'm still kind of flabbergasted. I really, really am. Maybe I called it too soon, but I saw something in Cora and I am just heartbroken. Let's discuss. So, of course, last week Ryan was cut, and I know a few of you said in my comment section that you didn't see her as a model. However, I saw her a few days ago on this hair site. Like, she does hairstyle modeling. I don't know what it's called, but hair modeling, I guess. She does that, and they were doing like a whole video behind the scenes of her getting her hair styled, and then of a photo shoot of her after her hair was perfectly styled, and she looked amazing. She looked like a model. I really think that she has it. I really, really do. I even saw her interview with Drew after the show. I think it's either after the show or on the VH1 website. I don't know. I watch this show through DVR because I cannot do commercials unless I'm in them. I can't watch them. Okay. However, I watched her interview and she touched on a lot of topics. She was saying that a lot of, her overeating came from, just a lot of stuff that she was dealing with, especially with the passing of her father. And she really held herself well. She was very well put together, which is shocking to me how these girls are so well put together and just not scatterbrained when they're doing their exit interview, except for the girl that was cut the first time. I forget her name, but she was a plus size model. She seemed a little off on the show and she seemed a little off in her interview. But everybody else is so well put together after they get cut. And I'm just like, what are they doing to you on this show to make you so scatterbrained? So we're back at the house and a lot of the girls are still shook because even though Liz went home, Tyra also sent somebody home. And I was watching and I was just like, welcome to top model ladies. Tata don't play. Maybe you got a little break with Rita Ora, but not with Tata. She calls it like she sees it. We already talked about it in the beginning. We're going to talk about it a little bit more in this interview. Look at me. Review. Cora was going through it this episode, and I was watching it. I was like, this has to be her comeback. I'm hoping this is a comeback episode for her because she has spent the majority of this episode crying. And I'm like, Cora, I just think a lot of these girls that they are picking, and I get it, it's a TV show, right? I just think that they pick a lot of girls who have a lot of insecurities, and their insecurities take them out of the competition. Because the moment I saw Cora, I saw a supermodel. Ashley stops by, and before we can even get to it, listen. This top that she had on, this jean, strapless top, if you got, because I've been trying to find it, I do not know where I can find this top or whatever. I probably can't afford it, but still, I want to have it on my radar just in case I book a big job. Anyway, this jean top was so gorgeous. She looked beautiful in it. Ashley got some big titties. So do I. I was like, I need to find this because for a lot of big titted women, especially when they're natural breasts, they're very heavy, and you can't find anything that could support your boob weight and still have them sitting nicely and not looking like a burden. And I was watching her. She didn't have to pull it up or anything. She just looked great. This whole ensemble she had on looked beautiful. I was just like, I need this top. I don't care how much it is, to be able to find something that is strapless, that can hold up the massive boobs, is something that I need to just have. I need to just have it. So please, if you know who the designer is, where I can find it, please put it in the comment section below because I need that. Anyway, Ashley starts to talk to the girls about Unconventional Beauty and how she's changing the game. No shade. I'm not taking anything away from her. I really didn't see it for Ashley on the first season shoot last season, her first season on this show, because I felt like she was being overzealous about her accomplishments in the modeling community and not taking anything away from her. But I just didn't feel like, for me, and it's maybe because I'm like, models of the 90s. I keep on comparing models of today to the models of the 90s, and I need to stop that because those girls were just a powerhouse, you know. Naomi, Tyra, yes, put her in there too. Linda Evangelista, what is her name? Pepsi, oh, forgive me, Cindy Crawford. Like, these girls were changing the game. They were getting $1 million just for like an hour of a shoot. Like, they changed the game, and I keep on comparing models of today to them because they literally, guys, took over the world. Like, this is before there was even social media. They were everywhere. And I just felt like Ashley, in my opinion, hadn't done enough, you know what I mean? Or had a longer catalog to call herself a supermodel. And it's not just her. I feel like we call, you know, girls who have been out for a year a supermodel. And I'm like, really? It takes, in my opinion, I feel like it just takes time to get there. Like, you have to earn it. Like, when you have a fashion house, a top fashion house that just wants to work with you exclusively, then you can be called a supermodel. You know what I mean? Versace had his girls and he picked them, and those are the girls that he worked with. Those are the girls who wore his garments, okay? No other heifer could get a Versace garment if you wasn't the ones that he picked, okay? So I just felt like she was just being a little too boisterous about her presence within the modeling community. However, this season has really changed, especially this episode has really changed my perception of Ashley. And I think that, yes, I love the fact that she's a plus size model. I feel like she is really changing the game, because truth be told, even though she was talking about how plus size models are changing the game and they're doing this and they're doing that, I have to be very honest with you. She's the only one that I see. I don't see multiple plus size models killing the game like she is. So I can give her that crown. I do feel like she has earned that. And I'm not saying she's looking for me to give it to her, but I was just like, last season, I didn't know enough about her. I hadn't seen enough of her. And I'm a fashion girl. Don't get it twisted, okay? I know my stuff. And I just didn't feel like she had the numbers to be calling herself a supermodel. But this episode and this season alone, I do agree, Ashley, your crown is justified. Gina going bald is the best thing that has ever happened to her. I know I talked about this before, but something in her like snapped in a good way. Something really changed with her when she just became bald. And she was talking about how, you know, she was feeling insecure about it, but now she just feels very confident in her, you know, unconventional beauty. And she also said that she could rock bald in a wig. And I was glad she said that, because I think she has so many layers. There's so much to her. And I also think that with her having alopecia, although it was, as my mom says, what the devil meant for your bad, God will turn it around and make it for your good. Because with her not having any hair, she's ambiguous. You don't know what culture she is, so she can fit in so many different things. With hair, she looks like a light-skinned black girl, in my opinion. Without, I can't call it. And I think that is the best thing for her, because she can put on so many different things. She could wear so many different things. She could work in so many different countries, because let's be real, racism is real. You know what I mean? There are a lot of black models who can't work in certain markets because, you know, they are just not checking for black women. But Gina, who is a black woman, could work those markets. You know what I mean? Like, she could work in Hong Kong. She could, you know, she could be an exclusive model in Europe. Like, she could do it. She could work in Italy, although they're having like a black woman explosion. Let me get over there and get myself a husband. I'm serious. Anyway, to Rome with love. What is that show on Bravo? I'm digressing. But anyway, I just really feel like this having no hair is such a huge advantage for her, and I'm so glad that she is seeing it for what it is and knowing how to work it. I said it before, when she went bald, she became like my top, no shade to Cora, but I just felt like something happened in her. And to be not only ambiguous but otherworldly, girl, she is going to slay the modeling world. Mark my words. So the only person who was struggling with this unconventional beauty conversation is Sandra, who's so beautiful. She's struggling to understand and relate to the rest of the ugly heifers in the room. Girl, you at my top, but if you keep on playing, I'm gonna knock you out of my top. Not in, oh gosh, Lord. Normally, for a top model, I never really could get their challenges. I just thought that they were just doing something to just get a reaction out of the models. However, I believe this is because Tata is back. They are doing a challenge that is detrimental to their career. This makeup tutorial or beauty hack challenge is genius. Here is why. YouTube, new media, which is what we call it in the industry, is the future of entertainment. Having these girls who are paid to be pretty and dressed up and they are wearing, makeup before it even hits the market, having these girls learn how to set up a channel, learn how to do not just viral but trending topics and makeup is genius. Tell me you wouldn't want to learn a beauty hack from a model. They know it. They've been around it. They're in it. You know what I mean? So I just thought that this was so smart. I also felt like this is something that sets up the girls who won't even win. You know what I mean? I felt like this was something very helpful to all of them, winner, loser, or whatever, who was still there, who were getting these tips for this YouTube makeup challenge or beauty hack, whatever it was, because it allowed them to see that this is something that if you're not booking, at least you could be building some kind of audience, you know what I mean? So that it can take you to a different place. Because like I said, a lot of models age out. We're changing that. Thank you, Jesus, but it's still a long way to go. But a lot of models age out. So instead of getting some rich, old, crusty dude that you don't want to be with, but you just be with him because he got money, you can have your own little stash, get to secure your own bag, and live nice with your own, channel. I mean, truth be told, unless you're like in the millions and 6 years old, you're not making like a bunch of money on YouTube. It's actually the stuff that you can do outside of it that gets you that money. You're not really making a lot here, but if you can somehow garner an audience, captivate people for more than 10 minutes, have a lot of subscribers, product companies are looking at that, which reminds me, stick with this channel. I got a couple of sponsor things that I have, like makeup stuff that I want to share with you guys. A lot of the new stuff that is coming out or has already come out. I want to share with you guys, just what it looks like, because a sister is building over here. Okay, anyway, I just think it's a really smart idea for her to teach these up and coming models about new media, about YouTube, about garnering an audience outside of modeling. Because like I said before, when you're not booking, you could be filming a video and getting that kind of income or that kind of notoriety when you're not on a runway. Smart job. I'm so glad that Tata is back. This is why I wanted her back on the show, because we get challenges like this. Here is where we spend a lot of time on Rio, who is another girl in my top who disappointed me. Really, really disappointed me, because Rio made this whole thing about her little sister who's graduating, who loves Patrick Starr, who was one of the people who were helping the girls with the YouTube tutorial challenge or whatever. Her sister is a huge fan, and Rio really wanted to win this for her sister because she's graduating today. Totally understandable. However, I felt like her sister became this cover for what she was really dealing with, and that is the jealousy of Sandra. Rio, who is somebody that I feel like a lot of girls would think is the beauty. So I just didn't understand how she felt like Sandra was so much more beautiful than her, and she compared herself to her in a way that is very disturbing. So Sandra ends up winning this challenge, and Rio, instead of just taking it in stride and focusing on herself, starts to go at Sandra and makes a really big deal about it, about how she's so beautiful, and girls like that in school made it really hard for her when she was coming up because she wasn't considered beautiful. And then she started going into her injury and how she cheated death, and all of these things were tied into Sandra, and I'm like, what? It made absolutely no sense, and it was really ugly to see from Rio, because again, I don't know these people, but I just didn't expect that from her. She just never gave that off in any of her close-up interviews or just in her scenes. I just never saw her as being that person. I do want to say, and I'll get back to Rio, that Gina is just a wonderful person. I have seen her throughout this season comfort so many people. Girls who are having breakdowns about the slightest thing when she was dealing with something so huge on this show. She was comforting Rio, who I think is older than her, and trying to get her mind back in the game and just letting her know that don't focus on Sandra, focus on yourself. And she was doing it to a lot of people. Like, I've always seen her in scenes comforting people. encouraging girls who she's competing against to keep on going, letting them know that they're good models and to not let this, challenge shake them. She was doing the same thing to Cora. She is a really great person. That's why I am pushing for her to win this challenge, not just because I think she's a ridiculously, forward model, like beautiful. She's everything, right? But I also think she's just a great person. And I don't think it's something that she's trying to fake, because even when she's not the focus in the scene, she's doing something to make that person feel better. Back to Rio. She just made this huge issue with Sandra that I don't think it's with Sandra. I think that Sandra just took on the look or whatever, or just the idea of beauty that she dealt with her whole life, and she just made her this beauty icon that she could never be, and she doesn't have to work as hard. And I'm just like, first of all, no tea, no shade, but you are a light-skinned black woman with light eyes. You have a privilege in your own community. There are self-hating men who look at you and think that you are the beauty icon of our community. So for you to sit there and then put this whole beauty icon thing on somebody else, as somebody who was dark skinned, I was looking at it like, girl, like, really? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's somebody in her life who has Rio as a Sandra. And it was just, I just felt like she handled it so poorly. And props to Sandra, who handled that very well. Even when they went out to dinner, Rio just let into Sandra. And I was surprised that a lot of the girls let her do that, because she was so wrong. I can't believe that anybody was defending her or letting her speak. I think Brindy was the only one who was just like, let Sandra talk, because, Rio was able to let out on her. So let her speak. Sandra ends up speaking, and she was just like, I can't change that. I don't, you're putting all of this on me, and I can't do anything about it. This is the problem that you have. She was telling her the truth, and she's, oh, you're so beautiful. You know what? I don't know if you watch Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm watching All Stars right now and reviewing it. Please check that review out. But if you do watch it, Rio reminds me of Aja, and Sandra reminds me of Valentina. Valentina is this, and you'll see her next week. She is a gorgeous person without drag, and with drag, Valentina is just on another level. You know what I mean? And Aja is someone who is a drag queen who just was not a conventional beauty, had to work a little bit harder than Valentina, just did not have everything that Valentina had. And Valentina tried to befriend Aja, and Aja just hated her because she was just so gorgeous, and she was just winning challenges just because she just knew how to do it a bit better. And instead of working harder, Aja got in her head and got herself out of the competition because she was so focused on Valentina and not focused on winning this competition. And I feel like that's what's happening with Rio, who is in my top, but I feel like she's taking herself out of the competition because, again, her insecurities are coming out and she's piling them on Sandra, who, can I just be real, is not a better model. Sandra is definitely a beauty model. You know what I mean? That's one facet of modeling. Rio has it all. She is a beauty model. The girl can walk. I can see her doing, like, even when she was doing that horror challenge, she came out of that, like, she has so many characters inside of her. And I think that's what makes a good model. A good model can step into any element and make you believe that they are a part of that. I don't think Sandra has that. I think Sandra is pretty. And that's the best that she can do right now. Proper training, the girl can go places. You know what I mean? Rio has what Sandra needs. So I just don't understand how she's comparing herself to her and putting herself in this bottom position. And not saying that one is better than the other. I'm just saying, concerning this competition, Rio is so far ahead. So for her to just make Sandra this like evil model that's trying to take her down, it was just ugly and disgusting. And I hated to see that from Rio. And it actually gave me more respect for Sandra because she handled it, and she handled it in a way that I wouldn't. You're not gonna come for me and put your problems on me. Absolutely not. But I don't think that she's that kind of girl, because I do think because she's pretty, she's kind of had certain easier things. Not an easier life. I don't know the girl's life, but I think that she's probably never been in confrontations like this with another girl. Props to Sandra for really taking that in stride and handling that in a mature way, because Rio sure did not. And I think Rio's older. Isn't Rio like 27? And like Sandra and the rest of the girls, I think they're all like early 20s. So for somebody pushing 30 to just act so childish was really embarrassing. Now let's get into the photo shoot. So because Sandra won the challenge, she was able to actually not only get Ashley to be in like this trio beauty makeup look that they were doing, she also got Ashley as a coach. And this is why I said earlier that I agree with her being a supermodel, because during their photo shoot, she was giving some good tea. Like, I'm not even a model, right? But I have the face work. But I was learning so much from just the little snippets of conversation that we were allowed into as the audience. And I really thought that this was a huge advantage for the girls to have, because also Sandra picked Kayla as somebody to be in the shoot with her, because they had to do like 3 girls and, you know, heads laying together or whatever. But I thought that it was very smart. Shanice felt a little slighted because they were in the YouTube video together that won Sandra the opportunity to work with Ashley. But I'm just like, if I was Sandra, I would play the game. This is the competition. Pick another girl that is good, that is going to make your photo look great. And Kayla is one of them, because they ended up having a really great photo shoot session, and we'll get into the photos a little bit later, but they did really, really well. Like, Ashley was giving them so many tips on how to find their light, and even when they had finished their photo shoot, she was still telling them, see, this is like looking at other girls' photos and telling them what was good and what wasn't good about it, not in a negative way, but just giving them helpful critiques. And I thought that this was such a gem of a win for Sandra, because I don't think that her photo would have turned out the way it turned out if she did not have this much help with Ashley. Not saying that Sandra wouldn't have knocked it off the park, but I don't think she knows yet how to work her face. And with the tips that Ashley was giving her, woo, them girls slay. So Rio, Gina, and Cora are in a trio, and of course my girl is struggling. I blame the devil. Let's talk about how Christina is, she has it, right? I have to be honest with you. I think she's dealing with something very dark. So I think that's why she can easily tap into like darker photo shoots easily, because this beauty shoot, she was struggling. Also, her hair is horrible. I hate that hair that they gave her. I honestly feel like they don't like her, so it was like a little setup to just get her out of here. I don't know. I could just be reading too deep into it, but I just didn't. Her hair is horrible. It does not work for her. Maybe a low cut, something else, but what they gave her is just terrible. Maybe like a taper cut, like a cut with like all of this maybe natural or straight hair, you know, like a trendy Halle Berry, but with the sides gone. I think that would have been good for her, with the hair kind of puffed up a little bit. That maybe would have worked, but this green is a mess. Anyway, homegirl has been saying that she's a model and she knows what she's doing. I ain't seen it. And again, I'm a fashion girl. She was the worst on this photo shoot. Poor Erin. I mean, Christina, in just pictures alone and from just watching this on my TV, she seems like she has a really small head. But that head seemed heavy on Erin's face because she was squishing everybody. So it was just very hard for, you know, the girls to try to get a good photo out. And she is somebody who was so confident and talking crap about Shanice and Erin and saying that she was concerned about the photo shoot because of them. And I was like, oh no, girl, you were the worst in this entire photo shoot. You need to be worried about yourself. Now let's move on to the judging panel. First of all, this is the best Tyra has ever looked. Her hair, her makeup, everything worked this time. I don't know what's going on. She's a hit and a miss, and it hurts me because Tyra's a supermodel. I think at this point she's an Uber model, or Uber mogul, because let me tell you something. Mother got coins. Mother got coins in front of the camera and behind the camera. She is doing it. Stay woke. But this is the best, in my opinion, that she has ever looked this season. I'm hoping that we get some greater looks. Girl, get Law. Is Law styling you? Pay him another extra coin to style you, because that's very important. Because I don't remember Rita Ora's personality, but I remember her outfits. That is something that needs to happen on this show. If you are presenting as this Uber model, which you are, and you are the head of this show, you need to slay. It just has to happen. She has to slay. Pay Law some extra coin and get him to style you. He did wonders for Celine. I know he can do it for you. Cora, Rio, and Gina are actually the first to get critiqued. I actually liked the photo. I love what Cora was doing with her face. So I just didn't understand how they just didn't like what she was doing. And she was giving me this whole like takedown of Cora, and maybe it's because she's my favorite. It just reminded me of Benta, and I didn't like it. I felt like they tore Benta down and did not help her. And I think it's just the opposite with Cora. They built her up so high, but didn't give her any help to stay there. So she didn't know what she was doing. We love everything about you. Just stay Cora. Okay, what is that? As somebody who's still trying to find her model identity, what is she doing? So she's not changing anything because y'all telling her that she's so great, and then, you know, y'all start critiquing her for things that she just doesn't know. You're telling her after you've built her up so high that she has a problem with her face. You should have told her that day, even the day that she won the challenge. You should have been like, this is, you win. We love everything that you're doing. Just stay aware of your face. Something. And I don't know. I just felt like this was a Benta situation. So then Christina, Aaron, and Shanice go. The photo is just, whew, it's terrible. Shanice had the best, you know, photo, the best look. And I'm sorry, no shade to Shanice. If she looked the best in that trio, that's not saying much. And I'm not saying that Shanice is the model. Y'all know I'll go up for Shanice, but all of them were struggling, okay? But Shanice did the best, and the judges pointed that out. And then Shanice, who, I love her personality. She was like, listen, this was the best that we could get because Christina was squishing everybody, and then Christina was trying to go at them. And then her excuse was, I work out every day. The judges cracked up because she just has this overinflated like idea of self where she thinks that she is like this top model. And she's not. I'm not saying that the girl isn't good, but it's like you have confidence to the point where it's dangerous. You need to take notes and you need to learn and grow from there. But she's just not getting it because then she started crying and just victim blame. I can't with Christina in the tears because I think it's a deflection from learning. I really, really do. I also feel like, and I think we're going to get this later in the season, I'm telling y'all, there's something dark going on with her. She does not seem well. I feel like she's cracking. Her and Liz, who I thought were really good models, but I don't think that they are all the way there. And I don't think it's because they're crazy or whatever, like trying to, you know, throw a label on them. I think there's something that they're not dealing with that makes them emotionally unstable for this show. And it's something with Christina that we'll find out later. I'm telling y'all, probably the next episode, because that preview, ciao, we'll talk about it later. Christiana and Liberty, sickening. This is the best, in my opinion, Brindy has ever looked. I think that she might just be a beauty girl. And I think she's, because of her attitude, I think she wants to go for like tough, androgynous, like runway kind of girl. I don't see it. I don't see it. Androgyny doesn't work on her. I think they gave her that because of her cheekbones, but she's not androgyny. Because I feel like androgyny is different. I feel like androgyny, and this is just my opinion, I think I'm correct though. Androgyny, for me, in my opinion, especially in fashion, is somebody who can slay not as a woman or a man, but somewhere in between, like a meld of the sexes, and slay in a way that if it's a masculine or effeminate outfit, garment, whatever, beauty, makeup, hair, whatever, you want it. I don't get that from Brindy. I think that she has a gorgeous face, but she doesn't sell to me that I think in androgyny, that I think that she's not on that level, and I don't think that that's her wheelhouse, to be quite honest with you. I think she needs to go with like inner city with a meld of middle America chic. I think that's where she vibes. I think that, and maybe with a dash of punk. I think she can vibe somewhere in between that and play along those lines of fashion. But androgyny is just not her game. But beauty, sis, you got beauty. You got it. Ashley, Kayla, and Sandra, we see their photo. And again, it's a great photo, just like Brindy, Christiana, and Liberty, right? Although Liberty read a little bit commercial, and I'm glad that Tyra pointed that out. Oh, her critiques this episode, so glad she's back. Because even when we're looking at the photo of Sandra or whatever and Kayla, she's giving them all kinds of critiques that I think just really works for them. Like Kayla reads very young, even though she's not. And I don't say she's very old, but it's just like she reads like preteen. And that's good. That's good in modeling because they want you to not be able to age because it's still like male dominated. And then she went to Sandra, who was just straight beauty, who did such a great job. But then we get to Ashley. And I felt like for me, this was her supermodel receipts. Because home girl, like Sandra is gorgeous, Kayla is gorgeous. I didn't see either one of them in this 3-thing photo. I was looking right at Ashley. I'm like, how did you find your angles and your light with 2 other girls squishing your... Yes, Ashley, yes. She had the best photo. And I'm not, and you know, maybe it was set up for her to have, I don't know, I don't care. In that sandwich, she killed. Supermodel, you better work. Rio gets best photo. Thank the Lord. Maybe now she won't throw Sandra off a cliff. Like she was actually shocked that she got it. And then they cut to Sandra, who is unbothered. Sandra is in her lane. Rio needs to be in her lane. I'm so glad they gave her best photo to stroke her ego. Although she did great. I really, really think that she did a great photo. I'm not comparing her to Sandra because it's just like there's so much room in modeling. Like, girl, stay in your lane and do your best work. And I want to make note of this before I get to the moment that had me in tears. Again, every episode I cry. Anyway, Brindy gets called and Tyra says this to her. Tata, I love you. She says this to her. If you would have tweaked your head just a bit more, I would have called you sooner. Rita would have never said that. Nobody on that panel would have ever said that. Tyra, because although Brindy, Liberty, and Christiana had a good head photo or whatever, Brindy looked the best in my opinion. But her head was tilted a bit up, and so she wasn't laying down slightly. That slight little crick or whatever was the reason why she got caught later. And the fact that Tyra caught that, sis, bravo. So I had hope. I was praying. But my top girl, Cora, is in the bottom with Christina. And I was just like, Cora has had some rough moments. But in my opinion, she's such a better model than Christina. But they keep Christina and they send my top girl home. Heartbroken. Cora was just, even with her, when they were trying to get her in the end, she was like, do I have to do this? She was just so hurt. And I don't know if Cora comes from an African family, but I'm African American. I came to this nation by slavery ship, okay? A lot of my really good friends are African, and they make mention, a lot of them I think are like first generation. And no, I think second generation. Who knows? But a lot of them make mention that their parents want them to go into, they want them to go to college and they want them to be like a lawyer, doctor, like something really prestigious and up there. And modeling is, or like entertainment, because I also have a lot of African friends who are in entertainment, and they tell me about how it's just really hard. Like their parents don't respect it. They do not get it. They do not see a future in it. They wish they would have stayed in medical school. A lot of my Asian friends say this too. Anyway, so I don't know if Cora is African, like first or second generation. I don't know, but she kept on mentioning that she dropped out of college to pursue modeling. And she was just really heartbroken behind that. And I felt like there was some family thing going on. Not saying that if she was African American, her family wouldn't have been like, what are you doing? But I just feel like there is more support when you do arts in the African American community, because for a lot of us, if it wasn't sports, it was entertainment. Those were areas where we were able to rise out of our situation, you know what I mean? In a sense, get out of the hood. I hate saying that term because I had a great experience in the hood. I don't want to speak on the hood as a negative, because for a lot of us, it was a great experience. But I'm using that term for now. But I think that for African Americans, it's, if you want to be, we'll support you in rap, because we've seen a lot of us who grew up in the hood get into a better situation through hip hop. We'll support you in acting because we have Taraji, we have Oprah, we have Whoopi Gold. We'll support you in those areas. We'll support you in comedy because we have Martin, we have Monique. Talk about that later. We have Chris Rock. So we've seen success in our nation concerning our people in those areas, so we'll be very supportive. I think with a lot of African parents, they don't see that in this nation happening for their kids. Although, can we be real? A lot of these actors playing African American are African. But I just don't, I think they want to come to America and get these prestigious jobs. And it's this idea that this is the best way for you to succeed. So I don't know if that was her thing. I felt like I was hearing that in her exit interview. Forgive me, I'm getting over the flu. Pray for me, because I was a little scared for a second. I was just like, is this a flu that's gonna kill me? But I'm getting better. Anyway, she goes home and I'm just heartbroken. Then we get like this great next episode trailer. And I think that's when we're gonna see what's going on with Christina. And so I'm interested to see what she'll reveal, because I see her breaking, and I think that's when we're going to get the revelation of whatever she's dealing with. So that's going to be a juicy episode. So that's where it ends. And before I close out, I just want to say to my girl Cora, I don't know if you're watching, if she's not, get this to her. Girl, you got it. Everybody saw you as a supermodel. I still see you as a supermodel. I hope that you are still going after it, because you have it. I think you just have to just do a little bit more practicing on your face, because when you're straight on and just body or what, you're great, but there's just more that you have to, like, more characters. That's it. I think you have one very strong Grace Jones character. She's not for every modeling shoot. You know what I mean? But you got it, girl. I'm telling you, you and Gina, I see y'all having a fabulous career outside of this show. So keep going. So my top 5 is shot to hell. How's your top 5 holding up? Please let me know in the comment section below. Also, I talked about it before, but I'm very excited. Next week is going to be a drag race crossover, and I am so excited about it, because then you'll get to see Valentina, who I talked about earlier in the episode, and also we're going to get that coupled with, the Christina breakdown. So it's going to be a juicy episode, so I would love for you to stop by so we can discuss it again. I'm going to try to get this review up a little bit earlier than normal, but I'm in like several shows out here right now, so it's just when I get the time, I do a bunch, because I like discussing the show with you guys. I'm going to try my best to get it up sooner. Anyway, if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you for the following episode of America's Next Top Model. Bye, guys.